Hey, what's up everyone, Craig here, and in this video I'm going to share with you what trees and shrubs I use to create that exotic tropical looking canopy over my patch of paradise. But quickly, before we talk about what plants I'm growing in my garden, let's talk about why I even bother to grow trees. There are two very good reasons. One, trees or tall shrubs help to actually create that subtropical microclimate in your garden. That means trees can improve the environment in your garden and make the health of all the other plants much better. How? In summer, when trees are in leaf, that canopy, that tropical and exotic canopy, is going to cast dappled shade down on your garden. And that dappled shade is going to protect all of your plants from the worst of that summer heat. It means less watering and less wilting plants and less burnt leaves. In winter, when the leaves have dropped, or even if you've got evergreen trees, the canopy, bare or not, is going to help keep down the warm air. So as the ground heats and that heat rises, the canopy of the trees will hold it there like a blanket, and that warm air in the winter is just going to really help improve the chances of a lot of your tropical style plants and exotic plants being able to survive winter outdoors. The second reason is, what better place to seek shade than under the canopy of your jungly foliage in your own garden. Just imagine it, sat there in your hammock, swinging away, looking up at the canopy, sipping a cold drink. Perfect. Right, let's have a look at what plants I'm growing for both of those reasons in my tropical styled garden. So the first tree I grow in my garden to create that tropical and exotic style canopy is Catalpa bignonioides Aurea, commonly called the golden Indian bean tree. And wow, is this one golden. It has these huge heart-shaped leaves that are a golden, limey yellow green, and they just absolutely glow in a tropical styled garden. Especially if you've got a lot of dark green foliage, this tree will absolutely stand out. It only grows to be a small to medium sized tree, so you don't need to worry about it taking up too much space. And honestly, if you have small gardens, try trees. Trees will just make your garden feel so much bigger. You'll be walking in a garden rather than looking down on it. Golden Indian bean trees do flower. Mine hasn't, but the flowers are a bit like foxgloves. They are trumpet-like flowers, creamy white, and in the middle of the throat it's got golden stripes and deep red speckles, and they're said to be quite sweetly scented. And these flowers are followed by the beans that are mentioned in the common name. The bean pods of the golden Indian bean tree are so long, over a foot long, and they just hang down from the tree. So even in winter, when the pods are still up there, the tree looks super jungly with all these giant bean pods hanging down from it. I can't wait for mine to get to that point. If you want a tip for the golden Indian bean tree, know that it can be pollarded. That means cutting back all of the stems to just one single trunk every single year, so it looks like a pollard. The following spring, it will burst into life and it will put out loads of new branches with even bigger leaves than if you hadn't pollarded it. So they can take a hard pruning. This is a tree that everybody can try in their tropical style garden, no matter how much space you've got available. The second exotic tree I grow in my tropical style garden for that lush canopy is an evergreen tree, and that's the reason I love it. It's Eriobotrya japonica, commonly called the Loquat Tree, because of the edible orange fruits that it produces after a mild winter. This can grow to be a medium to large tree, but they do cope with pruning well, and you can containerize them, which will stunt its growth a bit. It has these beautiful evergreen large leaves that can be up to 30 centimeters long each, and they are so deeply corrugated they add a really, really nice texture to your garden all year round. So even in the depths of winter, your garden is going to look lush and tropical and exotic. It does flower, but when it flowers it's in late winter and early spring, and the flowers are just tiny little creamy white flowers in clusters that you can't really see because they're tucked underneath the leaves. But if you have a mild winter and the flowers don't get frosted and they do get pollinated, they are followed by swollen sort of plum-sized fruits that are bright orange and edible and delicious. I've only seen a tree fruit here once and it wasn't mine, but fingers crossed that I'll get fruits off it one day. Now, a tip for growing loquat trees is that they have a tendency to shed their lower leaves all the time. My tip is don't worry about that. That's fine. As it flushes out all of these new leaves from the top of the tree, it just sheds its old leaves. It's the nature of the tree. Don't worry when the leaves start going yellow or brown and dropping off from the base of the tree. It's fine. Your tree's happy, it's just growing. And the third tree I use to create that exotic canopy in my garden is Rhus typhina, or stag's horn sumac. I know this tree's got a bad rep, but hear me out. It has these beautiful, really tough leaves that look super exotic. And they are tough because they are drought tolerant, so you're not watering this tree all the time. And they resist wind damage really well. My garden is coastal and the winds rip through when we get a storm, but this tree looks pristine all year round. And on top of that, in autumn, the colours you get on this tree are unreal. When the rest of my garden is starting to get frosted and going brown and dying back like us tropical gardeners have to deal with every year, this tree lights up. It goes intense oranges and reds and yellows and it just looks absolutely stunning. The tree flowers as well. It produces densely packed cones of yellow looking flowers, like a limey yellow flower, and they fade to pink and then to red. The bees love them, so you can enjoy hearing the sound of pollinating insects enjoying your garden. And the flowers are held on the bare stems all winter. So even when your leaves have coloured up and dropped off, you've still got these bright red cones protruding upwards from the top of your tree, which adds a different form of winter interest. And you've got to remember to try and keep your garden looking as good as possible all year round. Tropical doesn't just mean summer. Go for a lush, jungly look in the winter. Why not? Yes, the tree suckers. Mine has just started doing it this year after 3 or 4 years in the ground. But plant a root barrier around the base of your tree if it's in the ground. Mine is contained by the old pond liner, which is still in the ground, so it's relatively well behaved. And if a root sucker does pop up, I just pinch that bad boy out. Or you can grow your tree in a container if you are really worried. But this tree is such a doer for a tropical style garden, and I urge you to give it a go. So there's 3 of the trees that I grow in my garden to create that tropical and exotic looking canopy. It means that I'm walking through my jungle rather than looking down on it. And remember, they help create that perfect warm microclimate in your garden so that all of your plants are going to be so much happier. And like I say, what better place to enjoy your garden than under the shade of the jungle canopy above you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Go and check out my other videos and check out my plant and seed shop. There'll be a link at the end of the video and in the description below. I will see you all next time.